Champagne Dreams Productions branch office, and for the first time in a long time with bright, colorful hair. So I did my hair last night, added some color to it. Got this beautiful pinkish magenta sort of shade going on. So very excited. We'll be talking about that tonight. We're going to talk about the new Nomad palette, and we're going to just chat a little bit. Maybe I'll tell you about my weird experience, if I don't forget, because I keep forgetting about things. But yeah, so welcome. Let me switch this to all chat so that I'll see all the messages as people come in. And yeah, so we're just gonna have kind of a chill hangout. If you're coming over from Dion's Live, then welcome. Hello, Grace. Hello, Alex. Hello, Dawn. Coming over. So this is the pink hair. This is my first time using Arctic Fox. So can we talk about the fact that like Grand Forks, North Dakota doesn't have shit for shopping? This was literally the one color of non-hair color that I could get without going to Walmart and buying like Splat. Because I've heard that Splat, I mean, people shit talk box dye anyway. And some of it is just like, these are, you know, like beauticians who make money off of people getting their hair colored. So I understand. Hello, Dion. How's it going? So I get it. They're going to badmouth box dye or whatever. But I've heard that like even people who don't just like wholesale say never use box dye say that Splat color really fucks up your hair. So I was a little nervous about buying one of those. I had this like pale blue like tint color, and then I had more of Sea Witch, which is the teal color that I've done a few times. I was in the mood for pink, so I went to Ulta because Ulta used to carry Arctic Fox. They used to carry Lime Crime. Our Ulta had none of it. The only hair colors they had were brown. Then I went to Hot Topic. They had one color. And it was not even on clearance, but apparently they had gotten rid of all the other colors. And so they had this Arctic Fox. So this is the first time that I've used Arctic Fox, and it was like a tie-in to the game like Arcane League of Legends. And so this is named after a character named Vi, I guess, and it's this like magenta. But I do like that it's got some variation, because that's one thing with you know, hair color, is that even if you're doing like pink, you want it to have like some of the aspects of like natural hair. So like my natural hair, when I let it grow out, it still has variation. It's not one solid color. So some dyes, if you do it, it's like one solid color. So I like that, like where it's short, it's got a little bit of a different look. It's got a little bit, you know, the roots look a little bit darker. We've got a little bit more variation. I really, really liked the smell. There was something when I put it on, the smell, it was very similar to the smell of Lime Crime, which I love, but it was even a little bit better. And so, yeah, so I'm liking the way that this came out. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with it. I could have gone, I forgot about that. So I was like, there's also a place in town called Discontent that I bet they still have Manic Panic. So I bet if I went there, I could get some Manic Panic. But I forgot about that, and so I went to Ulta, and then I went to the mall and went to Hot Topic. And luckily, the one color that I wanted, and I'm glad, because I always think that I'm willing to do things more meticulously than I really am. Because once I got home, I just slapped this on my head or whatever, and just because at first I was like, well, maybe I won't do the buzzed sides. I'll just do the hair on top. And then at one point, I was like, what if I like sectioned? So what if I got it wet and brought it all to the center? And I was like, what if I combed it down the middle and did like a dark purple on this side and pink on this side? Because then the pink would hang over the purple and it would be like a two-tone kind of thing. I am not fussy enough to do something like that. So I certainly did not. I just slapped all of this one color on my head. Don, you used Manic Panic on your mom. I love that. Now I need a cotton candy fragrance. Yes. Yes, I did do the pink. This was the color that I found. This was the like one color of hair dye that I could find in Grand Forks. And so the shopping in Grand Forks is just pathetic. I'm actually drinking water tonight. Can you believe it? This is like a Walmart thing. This Splash, that's where I always see it. I don't know if you can get it other places, but I get it at Walmart. And you get like 6 bottles for $2.50. And I really like these flavors. They're kind of good. I always forget about them because they're in. So I have my office, and then I have a little space across the hall that's kind of like my costume and prop storage. Yeah, it's got a nice soft feel to it. And so, yeah. So my hair isn't feeling too straw-like, which is crazy considering I did. When we closed the tarot space, the woman who had the yoga studio that my tarot space was in, she was closing up and getting rid of stuff, and we had like a little rummage sale to try to get rid of some stuff, and she had like a little mini fridge. I've already got one here in my office, and she had a little mini fridge, and it didn't sell, and then she was like, well, I guess you can just donate it to, we had a bunch of stuff that a thrift store was going to come and pick up. And I was like, well, a free mini fridge, I'm not going to turn that down. So she just gave it to me. So I have it in the other storage space, and I keep water in there. Water ends up taking up a lot of room, and I do sometimes enjoy drinking water, but I also need caffeine to like keep me from throwing hands every day. So I decided to keep the water over in the storage room and keep the caffeine over here in my office where I can mainline it when needed. And I voted today because we have a primary. Guess who didn't get an I voted sticker? Everybody was on Facebook showing off their I voted stickers. Hello, Tanya. I didn't get offered a voting sticker. I am deeply, deeply hurt. I love getting my I voted sticker. And I know you can get them if you go to early voting or whatever. I don't even do early voting. I want to go like on the day, and I want to go to the polling place, and I want to do my vote, and I want to like get my sticker. Like I want to do my sticker. Hello, Denise. Excuse me. I swallowed a little bit of that water wrong, and so now I'm going to be coughing forever. But yeah, so I went and I voted today, and it was so tough because also, you know, in a primary, the one side is easy because you have to vote along party lines because it's a primary. So you either do all Republican or all Democrat. Easy choice for me. Although the Democrats, there's only ever one running. And I heard somebody else say this, and I was like, I should think about that for the future and maybe like ponder that, because I heard somebody say that what they do is they vote Republican, because in North Dakota we don't have to register. North Dakota is one of, if not the only state where you don't have to register to vote, and you don't have to register to a party. And so we just go, and like for your ballot to count, you have to vote on one of either side, but you don't have to like, it's not like pre-declared. And so somebody was saying on Facebook that what they do is they research the Republicans, because usually there's more than one Republican running, and they find out who's the least shitty person, and they try to vote for that. Because in North Dakota, the Republican's probably going to win, and so especially in the primary, they're picking which candidate, so they're trying to like get the least shitty Republican on the ballot, which I was like, that's clever. I don't know that I have never, in LA, in one where like the party is stated, I have never voted for a Republican ever, and I think it would be hard for me to do that, but I was like, that is clever, I should think about that. But then there's the other side where it's all like non-party. I think there should be some sort of voting guide that they have where it's just like, even if it just lists the people and says like their platform, like what do they believe in. Because I'm in the voting booth with my phone, and of course our newspaper here in Grand Forks is terrible, the Grand Forks Herald. It's basically been bought by like out of state, out of town interests, and so it's barely a local paper anymore. But they had like interviews with all the school boards, because now that people are like banning books and doing all this kind of bullshit, I was like, I should maybe try to figure out who the good school board people are, so I'm not putting monsters on there. And I also just, it's not in me to leave it blank, because I know you can just leave it blank. I just can't do it. I can't do it, because the people who sit out voting are just as big of a problem as like, it's a whole rant. Let me not go there. But And so I was like on my phone, like trying to Google these people. And I messaged my friend to try to be like, because she's got kids in the school system. And I was like, who are the people that are running for school board that are not shitty humans? Because I'd already seen that she had voted and I knew she would be like aware. And she was busy because she was at work. And so she didn't get back to me right away. But I managed to find most of them on Facebook. And like there were 7 candidates and you could vote for, no, there must have been 8 and you could vote for 5. Up to 5 for the school board. And so there were 2 guys, and as I Googled, the one guy I couldn't find him at all, but I was like, he's a man, let's get rid of him. And then the other one, I did see a post from him, and it was very clear that he was a maggot, so I was like, he can go. But then for the 6 women, then I'm like trying to look them up, and I found one that had like a, trans kids, you belong here, and I was like, okay, we'll vote for her. And then there was somebody else that was like, I could see the Herald. I was looking at their like voting guide for the school board people, and I could see a little bit of the first one, and that said, create an account to continue reading. It was behind a fucking paywall, so I was like, fuck you, Grand Forks Herald, I'm not gonna do that. So that's when I started Googling and doing it. But she sounded okay from the part that I could see, and so then I was like, well, I'll vote for her. And then I found one that I was like, oh, she's clearly a maggot. So then I didn't. So then I was like, I guess I just vote for the other ones and just hope that they're better. And a lot of it was like pick no more than one name, and it was one candidate. So like those, I'm just like, I guess I'll just vote for the one candidate. I mean, that's kind of the option. So North Dakota politics is an exercise in frustration. It's just terrible. But yeah, so that was my day. He's a man, let's get rid of him. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about this little baby. So this is the Nomad Electric Carnival. This is the new, yeah, pick the least of all evils is the hope. Because that's the thing, like young people, the Gen Zers and the Gen Alpha, they are simultaneously like saving the world and destroying the world. And part of their thing is their like the political apathy in some ways. Like they'll get mad and they'll sign a petition, they'll protest about it, but then they won't vote. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And so it drives me crazy. But so like when they just don't vote, so I can't do that. That's why I can't leave it blank or whatever. And they're always just like, well, you're just asking me to choose between the lesser of 2 evils. And it's like, yeah, dipshit. Do you even understand what that expression means? Like, who doesn't want less evil? If you're getting a chance to choose, like, choose the less evil. Because if you sit it out, then maybe the people who are voting for the more evil, because we're all going to get the evil, right? Like, that's what I think these young people don't, I don't know if they don't understand it or they don't want to engage with it or they're too busy or they're on TikTok or whatever. They just don't get that, like, we're all going to get something, right? Like, that's how our electoral system works. Like, whether you vote or not, who you vote for, whatever, like, we're all getting whatever. Yes, this is the new hair color. It's Arctic Fox. It's the color Vi. I think it is in their regular line. I think it has a different name, but it was at Hot Topic, and it was a collab with Arcane, the League of Legends, I think. And so it's like we're all gonna get, so if somebody said to you, you have to, like, we're all gonna get something, right? And we're all gonna get the same thing. Would you like the spoonful of shit, or would you like the bucket of shit? And it's like, well, yeah, I don't want to eat a spoonful of shit, but if enough people who would at least pick the spoonful of shit over the bucket don't vote, then maybe we all get the bucket, because we all got a big old fat orange stupid bucket in Washington right now because too many people sat it out. Girl, okay. So yeah, so that's what they don't like, the lesser of 2 evils. Yeah, no shit. Who are you going to take out? You're going to take out the one that is more evil, and like, you cast your vote. Like, oh. Are you the type of person to call people who disagree with you a Nazi or white supremacist, bigot, and so on? Well, if you're a maggot, absolutely. I mean, people, like, when we're talking about disagree and, like, difference of opinion, like, the things that Trump is doing are so far beyond the pale. You are from Osaka, Japan. Well, welcome. We are international here. So I don't necessarily, like, if people are openly supporting MAGA, then absolutely they are Nazis and white supremacists. I mean, they just are. Like, at this point, there's enough documented. I mean, these people are just such hypocrites. They claim to be about law and order, but their candidate is a 34-time convicted felon. How are you about law and order and you're electing a 34-time convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, someone who appears more times in the Epstein files than any other individual on the planet? Like, then what does law and order mean to you? Or they say that they're pro-life and they vote against school lunches for children. They vote against like maternity and paternity leave. They vote against, anything that would improve the life of a child and claim to be pro-life. And it's like, no, you're just pro-forced birth. That's what you are. What do you say about me who doesn't support trans? Well, I hope that someday you fix yourself, because you're wrong. Trans people exist. Trans people have always existed. Whether you support them or believe in them doesn't change their existence, doesn't change that they are, owed the same rights in the world and in society as anyone else. So I'm not gonna like shake my finger and scream at you. I'm just gonna say you're wrong, and I hope you at some point figure it out, because your belief, your support doesn't change their existence. So fix yourself. That's all I can say. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, it got really political in here for a minute. But let's go ahead and take a look at this palette right here. You're delusional, and I don't talk to Westerner again. Okay, don't talk to me. That's fine. This is not an airport, my dear. You don't have to announce your departure. Thumbs up for Jesus. Well, thumbs up for this pink-haired queer who thinks Jesus is a fairy tale. But hello, St. Benedict. Welcome. We are looking at some beautiful, beautiful multi-chromy kind of beautiful shades that we have from Nomad Cosmetics. Very excited for this. Lovely, 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 lovely. So beautiful. I'm very excited for this. I was a little sad. This shade down here, Liquid Sky. Is that one Liquid Sky? Yeah, Liquid Sky. It was backwards, and then I was like, do those look like the right letters? Yeah, it's Liquid Sky. This one came broken. I was very sad, and these are not magnetic, and they don't have individual shades, so they just gave me like a $20 refund off the price of the palette, and I just repressed it together, because it was broken, and it was like loose in the pan, but because they had a plastic sheet, everything pretty much stayed in place. So I just took a little bit of like a thin Kleenex and set it over top and just like pressed it together. And so I did keep that together. So, you got to tell me if they are smooth or squishy. I will do my best, Alex. I will do my best. We will swatch them, but we'll do the best. What about the olden days when men would play the women's parts in theater? That was widely accepted and almost mandatory because women were considered inferior. What about that? So yeah, so that comes from like Shakespeare's time. That's actually where the term drag comes from, is from Shakespeare's time, because in Victorian England, it wasn't exactly that women were considered inferior. It was just illegal for women to be actors. Like, there was kind of this reputation of acting and all that kind of stuff. It was sort of frowned upon, but it was also like popular entertainment and all that kind of stuff. But women were just not allowed on stage, so all the parts were played by men. And so Shakespeare would have in the margins DRAG, which would mean so-and-so enters DRAG dressed as a girl. And so that would indicate that for this costume, they had to be dressed as a girl. And that's where the term drag comes from. So the original sort of usage of it was to indicate dressed as a girl. And so then it took a long time. And even after it was no longer illegal for women to be on stage, there was kind of this, and makeup goes along with it, because early makeup was very much about trying to appear like you didn't have any makeup on, because actresses were very suspect. They were thought to be like loose women. And so actresses were often sort of conflated with prostitutes. And so like being a painted lady was you were an actress, and that sort of people looked down on your character or whatever. And so that's why a lot of but women wanted cosmetic products. Like even when all this was happening and when it was shunned upon, there were still women trying to like darken their lashes or trying to like have a little powder to kind of make their skin sort of look a little bit even and soft. And Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't know that that's the history of where the term drag comes from. Is it comes from Shakespeare. So when people are like, "Are you a drag queen?" I'm like, "Well, if it's good enough for Shakespeare, it's good enough for me. Eat a dick." So that's I have no problem with that. But yes, let's go ahead and swatch some of these beauties. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. So maybe I was like, should I do similar colors together or should I do, but I'll never remember which ones I did. I've been watching a lot about the Tudor time period and the poison. Yes, the powders that would have like arsenic or lead in them. Like it's just, and there was, I think it was called like Lachine. There's this great book that I love, love, love. It's called Hope in a Jar. And it's this history of cosmetics. And there was some like Lachine, I think it was, and it was like a lash, and there was something in it that like ate away at women's eyelids and like it caused blindness, and I think a couple people died. Like it was terrible. So like the history of cosmetics is fascinating. Let's go ahead and we'll just maybe do the rows. So we'll do like row 1, 2, and 3. So the top row, we've got Hollow Drift, Candy Swirl, Afterglow, and Kaleido Wave. Okay, so let me start at the top and go down. I'm probably doing this in a weird order, but all right, so there are, oh, these are so glittery. Oh, hello, Dova. Escape the asylum, as if any bars could hold me. Are you kidding? Yes, we are all a little, we are the weirdos, mister. So here are, look at that. Very pretty. There is a little bit of like multi-chromy, duochromy, like there's a little bit more shift than I think. My phone camera never seems to get them. These are like ones that are hard to, oh no, I was like, can I turn the flashlight on? But the flash goes out the front. There's a flash on the side, but you have to be taking a picture. So those are really pretty. So this is, let me read the names again if I can. So this top one is Hollow Drift, Candy Swirl, Afterglow, and Kaleido Wave. Let me get out. I've got some makeup wipes here. I have to open a new pack. What? Oh, what is the feel? So they're very like silky. They don't, so far, like the first 4 that we have, none of them are like that flaky metallic. They're all, you can see, they're all very glittery. Some of them have more or less like a base color to them. Like this one is mostly, there's not a lot of base color, and then it's just got a lot of that glitter reflections. And so, really very pretty. Oh, Dion, I adore you, but I forgot to turn my sound down. Okay, let me do that. Dion sending me things. Okay, there we go. Now I should have the sound off. Are they typical Nomad? I would say, well, Nomads, some like they have a range, and some of them do tend to get kind of flaky. These are all very silky. They do kind of remind me of the Europe palette, that Crown Jewels, I want to say. Let me do the rest of these swatches, and then I think I've got that palette handy, so then we can do that. So let's go ahead. Now we'll do the second row. This row is Peace, Love, Unity, and Respect. I used to work at Hot Topic, so I absolutely we had a lot of raver stuff for a while, so we always had stuff with Plur, Peace, Love, Unity, Respect on it. All right, so let's go with, I mean, that green is gorgeous, but very soft, very, just like kind of silky, like just kind of, so there we have Peace, Love, Unity, Respect. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, so I want to get it over to here if I can get it a little bit more. I'm starting to go a little bit crooked, but there we can see the next row. Yeah, I haven't. I need to do a look with that Terramoons that you sent me, the Ophiuchus. I had some Terramoon singles that I used for a while, but I'm terrible about remembering to bring out my single collection. And yeah, Terramoons, I feel like I don't hear about them. I don't hear about a lot of single shadow brands anymore, except Cleona. I feel like people still talk about Cleona. Which I'm fascinated to know, like, how they decided to name it that. This is so random because I know some people from Ireland, and that I met when I was working there, and when I went there for a week for work, and just talking with them and watching some like British TV with Irish people on it, because that name, which everybody says Cleonad or Cleona, it's Cleena in Irish, like. The Irish language, if you ever look into the Irish language, they do weird things with consonants. It's really weird. So, like, technically as like an Irish name, it should be Cleena, but I think when I've seen them at events, they say Cleonad. So I'm always interested in that. Now we're going to go to the bottom row, and we're going to go to Liquid Sky, Energy Pulse, Hypno Base, and Pixie Haze. And then once we get all of these, then I will, I'll maybe try to pull out that Crown Jewels palette. And they can call it whatever they want. Like, it's fine. It's one of those things where, like, when I found that out, I was like, yeah, Saoirse. So that's, Saoirse, what's her last name? Who is in Lady Bird? What is her name? Saoirse. I can't remember. And then in Dairy Girls, there's Saoirse Monica. But yeah, she did. It looks so weird the way that Saoirse Ronan. Yes. So there's the last four. Yeah, really beautiful. This camera. Yeah, I think it's Saoirse Ronan. And then the one from Dairy Girls is Saoirse Monica. It's like a hyphenated first name. Saoirse Monica Jackson? Jackson sounds weird to me, but I think that's what it is. I'm probably the one who plays Aaron. But yeah, so those are all of the swatches. And yeah, so she was talking about... She was on Saturday Night Live, and they did this whole thing with Saoirse that was kind of like Liza with a Z. Yeah, rhymes with inertia. Yeah. All right, so let me move some things out of the way. I've still got this little spinner. I need to like have some time to do like another like pass through rearranging this. Let me go ahead and move a couple things. But I've also got, let me grab the cruise palettes. Oh, that one drawer likes to stick. Okay. Yeah, so the last time I was live, if you remember, Dion was talking about that the Blend Bunny Blends palette would match with the all like shimmer palette. I thought she was talking about this new one. This is the one she was talking about, was the chrome or the all shimmer. This is the Aurora Cruise from the Cruise collection. This would pair really beautifully with the Blend Bunny Blends palette as well. And then I think also this one would be lovely. Both of these, I think. So here you can see them kind of next to each other. Sort of next to each other. Oh, did I freeze? There we go. So you can see these are more, there are some shifts and things, but this is a little bit more of your standard kind of shimmer. And then this is more your multi-duo. As I turn it, maybe you get some of the shifts. I know the cameras never pick it up that well, but so you can see that these are a little bit more. And these have some more of those like, the ones that are a little, like this one tends to get a little bit flaky and it's got a little bit more of like a metallic. used Dollhouse today. Oh, I love me some Blend Bunny. I'm ready to knock out some Blend Bunny. I'm so excited for some Pride looks. I'm so excited. We're going to be on Dion's channel on the 22nd, just doing Pride looks. Whatever we decide to do. So just kind of a look that we've picked and planned out. And then on the 29th, we're going to be on my channel, and we are going to be doing Pride palette bingo. So she is going to use, because she's got the MAC Colors of Pride palette, which is 40 shades. I've got the new Blends palette, which is 40 shades. And so I was like, well, that could be fun to do Pride bingo, because we'll just decide how we're going to number the shades in our palettes. Hello, Fabulous Joe. Thank you. Yeah, I decided to go live so I could show off the new pink hair. And so then that way, because we're using two different palettes, we'll get totally different colors and they'll be very different looks. So I'm excited to see what we come up with. And so, yeah, we're going to do Pride Palette Bingo is going to be my my channel's offering for Pride. And we may zhuzh it up as well. We may use maybe some glitter, some gems, or we'll do some things to kind of to zhoop it up a little bit. So here is the Crown Jewels palette, and this is the one that had the 5 multichromes. So let me go ahead and swatch the 5 multichromes, and I'll leave a little bit of space because I think some of these look like they might be not exact dupes, but maybe similar to some of the shades in the Electric Carnival. So let me... Let's see, everybody's saying hello, hello. Good, good, good. Let me know if I missed anything while I'm swatching and knocking things over. So let me get... So those are the 5. These are the ones. Now these also feel very, very soft, but they're not as like glittery. These have a little bit more of like a metallic kind of sheen to them. So let's now put some Electric Carnival shades near them. So they're kind of soft like that. They're not, I don't know if they feel squishy exactly, but so let's do, this one kind of reminds me of that one. This one maybe reminds me of this one. This one maybe reminds me of this one. This one. Oh, I thought that was going to match more. Okay, let's do this one. I don't know if I have anything that really kind of... So there are some kind of similar tones here. So here we can see that there are some. So if you have the Crown Jewels palette, some of these are very similar. So let me see if I can match my system. So this is from the Electric Carnival. This is the shade Candy Swirl. And then this is from the Crown Jewels. This is from the Electric Carnival. This is Energy Pulse. And then this is the one from Crown Jewels. This one is Unity. And then this is from Crown Jewels. This one is from the Electric Carnival. This is Kaleido Wave. This is from Crown Jewels. And then this is also from Kaleido Wave. This is Peace. And then this is Crown Jewels. And then this is Respect. So you can see that there are some similarities, but I would say that, so if you have the Crown Jewels, they are somewhat similar. I don't know if it's really catching the difference of like, do you see how this one is a little bit more of, like they're very similar colors. They've got a similar sort of shift to them. They're very, very similar. But this one is much more of just like it's like a smooth metallic. And then this one is much more, it's glittery. It's got a little bit more of like a texture to it. So like those two colors, I think are basically the same, but they have a different texture to them. Is that enough to have to buy another palette? Maybe not. So remember, there are 12 shades in this new palette. The other one just has the 5, and the rest of that palette are mattes. FYI, really bad storms here. Internet keeps going on and out, mostly out, so I'll try to be here. Oh, Joe, stay safe. None of the storms have come over to Grand Forks, but there's been storms coming up this way as well. And my mom, Mama Champagne, said that there was a tornado that I guess touched down like 12 miles from the town where I'm from. Tanya, they're having storms there too. Yeah. But you have the singles. So do you have the multi-chrome singles? Or are those the ones that you have? So yeah, you can see these are very similar. So this is maybe a way to kind of bring back some of these shades, but the formula is definitely different, because it's definitely like, you know, even if they're the same color, they've got a different texture to them. And a lot of these, even if they're similar, they're not, these two are pretty similar. These two, this one looks to have a little bit more red to it. Yes, everyone that's got, if you've got storms around, please stay safe. We love to have you hang out, but if you need to like take shelter, or something happens, you know, obviously safety first. So there's that. So yeah, these two very similar, these very similar. These, I thought these would be more similar, but now that I see them swatched out, the blue purple ones, definitely, I think these are similar colors with similar shifts, but the one from the Royal Europe is much darker. So I thought there would be a closer match. Is it shiny? Yes, I would say that the ones from the Electric Carnival are much shinier, because the other ones do have like that smooth metallic, but it's not like a chrome metallic. So like this one versus this one, where it feels like it's the same color, but you can see that that one's much shinier, much more reflective. It has some like glitter particles in it, whereas this is more just like, it really just goes on like this smooth metallic, and then you get the shift in the colors. So like this is Royal Europe, this is Royal Europe, Royal Europe, Royal Europe, and Royal Europe. So yeah, they're definitely a little bit more dull, and they're a little bit more of just like the smooth metal versus like a glittery metal. I agree, Jenna. I never wear the singles from Royal Europe because they aren't in your face enough. Yeah, they are a little bit, they're a little bit more subtle, definitely. This Carnival palette is like, let's take a swing at that. And I like that they did a whole palette of these chromes, because then, like, because some of these are so similar, if you do have, because if they had just done like a redux of the Royal Europe and done the mattes and then added in the ones that were the same but in a new formula, I feel like that wouldn't have been different enough. Whereas this, even if you've got the Royal Europe, these are shinier and they're a different kind of formula, and you get 7 additional shades. So I do think that this is worth it. Dollar Multi. Yeah, with Cleona, it really depends. They've got so many that some of them are a little bit dull. They're a little bit, and then some of them are like insane. Like they're a little bit crazy. This is the shade Afterglow. This is the only one that I've noticed gets a little bit kind of, it starts to get that flakiness. So it becomes one of those like flaky beast kind of shades. I definitely saw that with this one. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful color. So it goes on really stunning. It's somewhat similar to Liquid Sky, the one that arrived broken. And again, it's not a perfect comparison because I had to repress this. So this is now, but you can see this one has more of that base pigment. You see the color all the time. This is a little bit, it's not a completely sheer, but it's got, you know, it's a little bit less kind of base color. It's kind of a gray. It kind of blends in from certain angles, but then you get the pow. Whereas this one, you kind of get some color from any direction. I have enough and none I would describe as insane. I had a couple that, I have a couple somewhere, wherever my singles are now. It's always, but some of them, like the oil slick ones, are like bizarre. Like they're so shifty. But yeah, some of them, most of the ones that I got are like the greens. But yeah, they're very different. Like, they're very different. Some of them are more subtle. Some are meant to be topper shades. I hate that phrase, topper shades. Can we just be done with that? Can we be done with calling something topper shades? Because topper shades, I haven't tried Cleona either. I like my Terra Moons and Divina single. I have so many singles. I have Divina, I have Terra Moons. I need to start bringing out my singles again. I need to just commit to it. There are ones that are better than others. I think you probably make some banging multichromes because you have had so many different ones. Yeah, it's... where was I going with that? I don't remember what I was saying. We were talking about multichromes. We were talking about Cleona. Oh, I have a bunch of green. Maybe I was going to talk about... Because I ordered a bunch of green ones. Because I know... I mean, obviously, I'm such a monster. Oh, topper shades. That's what topper shades. Thank you, Alex, for reminding. I hate topper shades because I feel like I'm getting half the money's worth. Exactly. And people started, like, topper shades wasn't a thing. That was not a thing. People just started referring to things as topper shades. These were these were in the big influencer days. So this started in the 2017, 2018 is when I first started hearing about toppers. And the only time people talked about it, it was never advertised as a topper shade. What it meant was just shitty eyeshadow. Because somebody would have a palette and there would be a couple shades that were like shimmer glitter shades, but they were just duds. And so they'd be like, well, I guess that's more of a topper shade. Like, you have to put it over another shade. Because basically what they were saying is if you put this by itself on an eyelid, it's going to look like shit. Because it's just there's maybe a little bit of glitter. There's no color. It just looks like shit. And so it was just a shimmer shade that wasn't very good. It wasn't made very well. And somebody was trying to suck a dick's brand and started calling them topper shades. And then people were like, ooh, that's a thing. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just call them topper shades? And I'm like, why don't you fucking not? Because it's terrible. I hate that. It makes me so mad when people refer to that as topper shade. Because now people are trying to design things to be topper shades. So I feel like topper has become sort of a thing. In some ways, this is kind of now what maybe would be considered a topper shade. Because you can see, from the side, there's not very much base color to it. And you can put it by itself, but it's going to be a little bit uneven. So if you put that over another shade. So I think it's become something, but it came from nowhere. It came from just people trying to not piss off a brand that was sending them free shit and giving them sponsorships. And so they called it a topper shade instead of calling it shitty eyeshadow like they should have. Because influencers be lying. Me too, Alex. Give me pigment. The Cosmic Rush's Angelic palette was put in the declutter pile because all the shimmers... Oh, no! I haven't tried the Angelic yet. Oh, no, I'm sad. Now I'm just not happy with regular shimmers. I do sometimes still like a regular shimmer. Not the, satiny shimmers. At this point, I think, the old school, satin shimmer... I don't even think of that so much. It's almost, I just call it a satin, because that to me is it's on par with a matte where they're the building blocks, and then shimmers are this kind of shit. Now a shimmer, and I understand that these are and I also hate when people say special shades. I hate that so much. I love Angelica Nyqvist from Sweden, but the one thing that she does that absolutely drives me up a tree is the way she's always talking about special shades. Those are special shades. And I'm like, no, the fuck they're not. That started with fucking Pat McGrath, where everybody was trying to bend over backwards to justify that $125 price point. And they'd be like, oh, but they have the special shades. It's glitter eyeshadow. Special doesn't mean anything. Special means nothing. Does it get out and wash my car? No, the fuck it doesn't. Does it tuck me in at night? It doesn't. It's not a special shade. It's kind of like my friend Melanie used to always get mad when she would hear people because they have Target and then there's super Target, and she's like, Target's not, it's not super. Super Walmart is not super, it just has groceries. Calm the fuck down. It's not leaping over a burning building or something. It's just Target and Walmart. But so that's how I feel about special shades. It's not special, because what does special mean? Special means nothing. Give me a description. Is it a metallic? Is it a multichrome? Is it a holochrome? Is it a duochrome? Is it a metallic chrome? Let me know what you're talking about, and then that's it. Now brands get to give us less for more. Thanks, asshole. Exactly. And try to justify the price, because the thing is that like some of these brands are still doing special shades. They look like these shades and they're doing it for less. So it's just a way to try to justify. And it's like the things in the Pat McGrath, I'm not arguing that they weren't more expensive. I'm not arguing that she can't charge whatever the fuck she wants to, or her investors, or whoever's in charge of it, or whatever. I'm just saying that stop calling it special to justify the price. The price is the price, and you either want to pay it or you don't. You either can afford it or you can't. It doesn't matter. But stop calling them special to like justify it. We're just gonna, it's a glitter shimmer, and you're either gonna buy it or you're not. Like, I can't with those people. I like my Sydney Grace. Sorry, I'll ease up on my bastion. Yeah, you're on a roll there, Janice. Janet? What? Janice. Oh my God, what is happening? My brain is rotting in front of all of our eyes. Janet. I was getting thirsty, I think. Janice. So the reason why that's catching me off guard is that, like, I know a Janice. And it's somebody that I worked with, and I haven't thought of her for years. And I just had such a weird experience the last time I was I was somewhere with Janice. It's a bizarre work story. Not that interesting because it was a work story, so how interesting can it be? But Janet, LOL, yeah. I like Sydney Grace and Metallics from Davina. Yeah, I like mattes from Davina. I think Davina has beautiful, beautiful shades. And I can see them right over there. I've got a bunch of magnetic palettes. I stocked up. Do you remember when Anastasia Beverly Hills did those $10 palettes? And there were like glitter palettes in yellow, green, purple, and pink. And then they had like a rainbow holographic, like leopard print and like a zebra print. I think of Janice from Friends. Oh my God. I swear I'm not her, even if it is a great memory. Yeah, it was, well, and it was a memory because she didn't show up. She was working at one of our sites in Detroit, and I had gone there to do a training class in January, and it was my birthday, and she decided that we had to go out for my birthday, and she wanted us to go to this male stripper bar. And it was so Detroit, some areas of Detroit are lovely. Tanya, I think you're from Detroit. Some of the areas are lovely. Some of them are rough. And sometimes you can kind of tell which areas are a little bit more rough because there will be these green flashing lights, like at a gas station or in a parking lot or whatever. And I was like, what are those green lights? And what they meant is that parking lot or that space was under 24-hour high-definition police surveillance. So it was a clue. It was a clue that sometimes things got a little rough there. And so we were waiting for her, and something happened to her furnace. And so I went with my friend Abby, who, like, stone butch lesbian, and then my friend Tasha, who like has this long-term boyfriend, and her boyfriend drove us to the bar. But like, and so we were waiting for Janice because we were supposed to meet up at this parking lot. Hello, CJ, how's it going? And we were supposed to meet up at this parking lot, and the parking lot had green lights all around, like the whole thing. And we're like watching shit go down, and like squad cars came at one point, and we're like, we don't know what's happening. And so then eventually Janice was just like, oh, sorry, not coming. And so we went to this bar without her that she wanted us to go to for my birthday, and it was a weird experience. And I had too many Long Island iced teas, and I tipped some hot dancers. But yeah, it was very strange because we kept trying to get in touch with Janice, and every time we talked to her, it was like some new like catastrophe had happened, and she's like, 15 minutes. And then eventually she was just like, yeah, I can't come. Oh, that was when I was there, and so I was getting ready to go, and I had to book my hotel. And there is a hotel attached to our site. The site that we have there's a hotel like attached. You can walk through the hotel directly into our office building. But we're also right near, I think it was the Cobo Center. It's this big like event arena, whatever, like a sports arena, event arena. I think it was called the Cobo. So when they said, "Oh, when you come down," they're like, "Book your hotel. The hotels are probably going to be pricey because it's during the car show." I'm an idiot. I'm from North Dakota. When people say car show, Cobo Hall, yes, that's the one. And so they said it's going to be during the car show. Dumb me was thinking in North Dakota, car show is like where a bunch of old white men, 75 and up, like go and look at their classic cars and like kick the tires, and there's maybe some tractors and some things like that all around too. It's not big. I'm in my brain, it doesn't, I don't put it together. I don't put it together that like Detroit is where they fucking make cars. So when they're talking about the car show, they're talking about the car show. They're talking about the like the next year of automobiles is about to be revealed, and it's this huge like international event. And so the first week that I was there was kind of the end of the car show. So the first week I was there for 4 weeks, I couldn't even get into the hotel. It was booked, and so then so I had to book a different hotel. And I had this terrible boss at the time. And so I was like, I don't know anything about Detroit. And she's like, well, just go on a map. And she's like, just pick one and try to find one that's less expensive. The only one that I could find that had any openings was called the Regency Hotel. Now, in my brain, I was like, again, there's no adults steering the ship. So I saw, oh, the Regency. And I thought, oh, it's a Hyatt Regency. The fuck it was. It was not. It was just the Regency. It was this hotel. It was okay, but like I had an Uber driver and there were lots of green lights in the nearby parking lots and things. And one time we pulled up and my Uber driver was like, "Oh, they got you staying at Hooker Heaven." So like apparently my hotel is called Hooker Heaven. And I was like, I don't know. So fast forward a couple of days after I hear that, and I was like, I'm concerned about what his idea of heaven is, because I met one of the hookers. Apparently her name was Mousy. She was like maybe 5 feet tall, maybe 5 feet tall. And if you've seen Betsy Johnson, was it off Woodard? I don't know. It was in a place where like, there was a big like main, like there was like 3 lanes on each side. So like if I wanted to go to the gas station, I had to run across 3 lanes to get to it. And it was, and then like our side, there wasn't a lot on that side of the road, but on the other side, there was more stuff. But it's been many, many years now. It's like 2015 since I was there, but I don't know if there were rooms by the hour. Look, mine was like $375 a night because of the car show. And so like I met Mousy, and so if anybody has seen Betsy Johnson, do you know what Betsy Johnson looks like, the designer? She's kind of fun, but you know, she's seen a little bit of age. She's seen she's definitely a woman who is wearing her age. She's wearing it well. She's lovely, and she's got kind of kooky, crazy hair. Mousy looked like Betsy Johnson had been left in the microwave too long. Like it was, and I was like, is that heaven? Like this is Hooker Heaven. This is what's on offer. And she was in these like pink thigh-high suede boots. And I was like, what is going on? And it was just, and so then I was calling the other hotel, and luckily the auto show ended after the first week that I was there, so they could get me in on like Sunday. And so I just like, so I was there that first week, and then on Friday we went out for my birthday, and so I was out late. And then Saturday I was like, I'm just gonna find a big mall, and I found this like mall in like Deering, Michigan. I think it was kind of nearby, but it was like some big, it was like 3 stories mall or whatever. And so I just went and hung out there all day. I was there like, I don't remember if there was a movie theater, because I don't think I saw a movie, but I just stayed there I ate lunch and dinner at the food court, and I just stayed there until it was basically closing, got an Uber back to the hotel, and like just went to sleep like right away. And then Sunday I was like out the door. Dearborn! I knew it was something with deer in it. Dearborn, yeah. And so I went to, maybe the Fairlane. Mousy probably did well with the 75-year-olds. Yeah. That is expensive for a hooker hotel. Yeah, all the hotels were, because of the auto show. I mean, $375 was the cheapest that I found. The other ones were like $500, $600. It was insane. It was so stupid. Probably Woodard, rooms by the hour. It was off Woodard. Okay. Yeah, so it was Fairlane might have been it, but it was like 3 stories. And I just know that I went to this really good like tea store, and I got some like loose leaf tea that was so good. And I went to like a couple bookstores, and I went to there was like a beauty supply store where I got a bunch of like cheap, interesting beauty supply makeup. And I did a post on my old version of my website. Before I was doing stuff on YouTube, I was doing stuff on my website, and I would do these like picture tutorials where I would paint a face and I would take a picture at every step. And I did a full face of like beauty supply store makeup, just kind of trying it out, and tried all these different products, and it was very fun. It was lovely. Yep, about 3 levels, lots of stairs, and a glass elevator. Yep, that was the one. That sounds like the one. Oh, wild times, wild times. Okay, so yeah, I think that's what we were gonna do. But now let me tell you. So I have one more weird story for you. This is the one that I was thinking about when I said I was maybe gonna tell you a weird story, because I have to tell you, I still don't even Tivana. It might have been Tivana, but yeah, it was pretty yummy. So not last night, but the night before. Is that still in mall? Yeah, I don't know if it's even still around, but it was a really good like loose leaf tea. So not last night, but the night before, I had the weirdest experience, and I'm just gonna tell you. But before I tell you, I feel like I have to preface this, because I feel like even as I am like telling you, I know that like if somebody else told me this, like I would, in my brain, like I would be pleasant or whatever, but in my brain I might be like, this sounds a little crazy. I'm skeptical. And I have to say that like I read tarot cards and I have my like spiritual beliefs or whatever, but I am the least woo-woo of my woo-woo friends. So like I'm open to the idea that there's like other stuff out there. There's other things kind of going on, but I don't believe in ghosts per se. Now you're down another rabbit hole. This is great, but I gotta go to bed. Work is testing my abilities to be an adult. Oh, well, good night, Alex. You'll miss the crazy. You can listen to the crazy story on the replay. Get your epoxy in Hamtramck. I don't know. That's too many letters for me. That's like Polish words. There's too many letters. So I don't believe in ghosts per se, because my sort of spiritual beliefs, I mean, I haven't been Christian for a long time. I have a lot of religious trauma. I was super, like a lot of gay kids, like before I was even aware of it, like I just knew something was wrong, and I thought Jesus could fix me. And so like I got real religious for a while, and then we got out of it, and lots of trauma or whatever. I only believe in ghosts of deceased insects. So I don't believe in ghosts. Like, that's the whole thing. Because there's something about it that, like, it just doesn't make sense to me in terms of, like, if you think of how many people are on this planet now, how many people have lived on this planet, like, then why do some places, like, attach ghosts or whatever? And it's like, why is it always the same thing? It's always, like, some old Victorian man or woman that just like floats through a house or whatever. And if ghosts are supposed to be born of like trauma or like things that happened or whatever, we live in America. We live in America. The United States of, comma. Like, if ghosts were born out of trauma, between slavery and the Native American genocide, like, we would be tripping over ghosts. Like, you couldn't swing a Fendi bag without knocking over 6 ghosts. Like, if that was true, like, it just would, I feel like it would happen more often. So I think there's something, like, how I believe in this, like, sort of universal kind of force or whatever. I don't think it's like a sentient being. And I think that when we die, we just go back, whatever our soul or spirit or whatever goes back into that. I don't know why people sometimes, I think sometimes as people, like, if they have sensitivities to this thing, maybe they turn it into a ghost in their mind. But I don't believe in ghosts. I need to say all that because I'm about to tell you like the craziest thing that happened to me last night. And it's not like even like super dramatic or whatever, but it's the kind of thing where like if I didn't experience it myself, I would be so skeptical if somebody told me. Because oh yeah, all of history was trauma, the ghost work, exactly. Then I don't want to dabble in that. Yeah, like I'm open to things. I understand that whatever's out there, whatever's happening, I can't understand it. Our brains, whatever the divine or universe or creator or God or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, if there is something out there, it's our tiny human brains can't really comprehend it. So we just have to try. And that's why all these religions, even though they're all like in different places and different things, that's why there's so many similarities, because it's just people trying to make sense of whatever this thing is. And I've talked about this before, but the idea of like the beach ball. So whatever the divine creator, universe, spirit, God, whatever, is like a giant beach ball. And if you're if you're standing on the red portion of the beach ball, then if somebody asks you to describe it, you're going to describe it as red because that's where you're standing. If you're on the green section, you're going to describe it as green. If you're on the blue section, you'll describe it as blue. If you're on the border where it's half white and half yellow, you're going to describe it as half white and half yellow. So like all these different religions are just different people trying to engage with whatever is out there and describe it. And so whatever. So I understand that I can't really comprehend it. I can't understand it all. And so the way I've come to understand it, like ghosts just don't make sense to me. They don't compute. I remember waking up because someone was looking at me. I asked my mom what she wanted, and the shadow faded into. Yeah, so this is somewhat similar. It's not visual, but so another thing to know about me is that since COVID, like it used to be that I very rarely remembered any of my dreams. I used to not remember dreams at all. Unless it was like every once in a while I would remember a dream, and it was usually when it was like super crazy and weird, and maybe the other ones were too and I just didn't remember them, but like so if I did remember a dream, it was always like super weird and chaotic and all this kind of stuff or whatever. Well, once COVID started and like things changed at my job and there was other stuff going on, one of the things that happened is now like I remember when I wake up, I remember my dreams every day. And every night I call them anxiety dreams. And so usually like they're weird and there's metaphors and stuff, but when I think about them in the morning, I can usually trace them to something that's going on in my life. It's never a direct like work on this video with this person that you don't get along with, but it'll be like that experience that I'm having will be worked into some sort of like dream metaphor kind of thing. But I have them every night, and I remember that I've had them every night. Even if I'm not good on the details, I will remember pieces of it. And so that has happened. And they're always like, I call them anxiety dream because I also like, a lot of times it's a pattern that just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. So it's not even like a long narrative. It's like there will be some frustration or some obstacle, and I'll just keep going over it over and over and over again. And so I've started having these dreams. And they're very repetitive, and they're always tied to this kind of like anxiety. Ever since like COVID started, they started to like happen more often, and now it's pretty much every day or whatever. Fun to be me. But so anyway, so not last night, but the night before, I was in like a typical dream or whatever, and all of a sudden the dream started to change, and the dream started to like soften. And it was very different because any of the anxiety stuff that I was working through seemed to be kind of going away. And suddenly I was in this group of people that I didn't know, but like, you know, there's all these different people or whatever. And all of a sudden we all start singing, and I'm singing with them. And it was kind of this and I've started to like I lose the detail of it very quickly after I wake up, but I know that I've been dreaming. And usually when I first wake up, I can kind of reflect on what was in the dream or whatever. But we started singing, and I knew the song. Like when I woke up, I knew that I didn't know that song, but in the dream, I could sing along with these people. And it seemed like a real song. It didn't seem like I was making up gibberish or that I was making up a song. I'm not a songwriter, so I don't just have like songs in the back seat ready to go. And so, but I was singing the song or whatever, and it became very joyful, which is not typical of my dreams lately. If anything, the anxiety will be like a minor, and it'll be like a minor obstacle, and I'll actually kind of get through it. But so it really kind of changed the character of the dream, and it was very like soft, and it was kind of joyful. So it was a nice change of pace. And so then all of a sudden, like we're singing the song, and the song ends, and I wake up. Like I immediately open my eyes. And I usually get up once a night to go to the bathroom or whatever. But this was much earlier. I usually typically get up because I usually go to bed like 1 o'clock-ish, between 1 and 2. And usually about 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'll wake up and go to the bathroom and then come back to bed and fall right back to sleep or whatever. So this, I think I'd gone to bed at maybe like 1-ish, 2-ish. And this was like not quite 4 o'clock. So it was very early. And I just all of a sudden, like, eyes pop open, and right behind my head, I hear a sigh. Like a woman's voice, like sighing, but like sighing contentedly. So like we're singing the song in the dream, like whatever. And then all of a sudden, eyes open, and I was like, and there was something to it that I could tell it was like a woman's voice, and it was behind my head. And I need you to understand that I have lived alone for a long time. So when I first started living with my ex-husband, that's one of the weird things about when you live alone versus living with people, is like, because you get so used to when you live alone and suddenly there's somebody else that exists in that world. The first month or so, every time, like if I was in bed, if he moved in the basement and made enough noise, I was immediately just like awake. Because my brain is like, you live alone, there shouldn't be somebody there. And then I have to be like, no, somebody does live here. 5 years down the line, you'll realize what a mistake that was, but somebody does live here. And so like, it's like awake. And then once we got divorced, then it was weird, because then I kept like looking for sounds in the night or whatever. But now I've lived alone for a long time. And so, have I had lucid dreams? I have before, but that's the thing, is like, I understand that like people are going to be like, oh, it's just part of a dream or whatever. And I'm telling you. And again, because I know that like if anybody else was telling me this, I'd be like, oh, you were probably sleeping, or it was still part of the dream or whatever. I have definitely been on the edge of like awake and asleep, and like parts of the dream have kind of filtered into the world. This was not that. I'm surprised I didn't feel breath on my neck. Like it was a voice behind me. And immediately every hair on my body was like at attention. And I just was like, and I didn't know what to like. So I was like, don't, in my brain, I was like, I didn't say anything out loud, but I was just like, don't panic. Don't panic. Because there was nothing threatening about it. Because like I said, the anxiety dream had actually turned into like this joyful thing. And the sound behind me was not like a threatening, not a spooky, not a like haunty kind of thing. It was very just like, just, it's almost like somebody, like that was it had this feeling of like, that was like their favorite song and they hadn't heard it in years or whatever. It was just that kind of like, that like joyful release. And so I just was like, get up and go to the bathroom. And so I went up, I got up and I went to the bathroom, because I'm just like, I'm so like, my skin is just prickled, and then I'm in the bathroom, and that's when my rational brain starts to kick in. And I was like, whatever that was, there was nothing threatening about it. There was nothing at all like creepy. There was nothing that felt like there was a danger, or that this was meant to scare me or anything. And as I was coming back out, I almost like laid down on the couch, because I keep my bedroom door closed when I sleep, and I have this lamp in my living room that I just leave on, so that I don't have to, because I have lots of knickknacks and tchotchkes and furniture and whatever, and I know the way around my house, but I just like, I'm like, I can walk through a little bit of light to get to the bathroom in the night, so then that way I don't have to worry about like bumping into things or knocking things over or whatever. So I just keep that light on. I almost laid down on the couch, but then I was like, no, this thing is not here to like scare you. Whatever it is not here to, it's not here to threaten you or whatever. So I was like, let's just go back to bed. I went back to bed. There was no other incidents. Last night there was no incident. There was no, I just went back to the regular anxiety dreams or whatever. And so, and that's the thing, is that like, because I realized that like it sounds crazy. Like it sounds crazy because like I've lived alone so long that I am like hyper aware. If I hear a sound in my house in the area that's not supposed to be there, like I am immediately aware. I'm so focused in on it. And so that's why like my brain is pretty good at filtering sounds. That's why like if people text me while I'm asleep, I don't wake up at all. But the minute my alarm goes off on my phone, like my brain is able to process like appropriate sounds versus not appropriate sounds. And so like, and I've also had like the weird, like I said, like the half asleep, stuck in a daydream or whatever. Like one time, so I kind of like Ancient Aliens. I like that show. It got cheesy and weird in later seasons, but like the first couple seasons, I was really into or whatever. But it was on Netflix for a while, and sometimes I would put it on and I would like fall asleep, and I would like half wake up, and these people were talking about alien invasion, and I was like, the aliens are here? Like what? And so like, and then part of that would like come back into the dream with me, and I was like, and then I'd fall asleep, and then I'd wake up again, and I was like, now they're underwater, like what? Like what? So I get that line between like waking and sleep, and that's all I can say is that like I promise you that whatever this was like, this sound was in the room with me. It was not like it was not part of the dream. It was not, because I'm in the dream and the whole thing, and it's like awake, and then it was so weird. I had 10 years with a sleep paralysis demon, so I have a perspective. Towards the end it turned to joy, no longer scary. That's good. Yeah, it's very strange. Like, Janet, that's so cool, the joyful, yeah, that it turned joyful. Yeah, because that being kind of scary and weird is not good. And it was just, so yeah, there was nothing threatening about it, but I was like, what is that about? Like, what is that? Because I don't, like I said, I'm the least woo-woo of my woo-woo friends. And I do believe that everybody has like intuition, and like people talk about like psychic gifts or what, and it's not that. It's just that like we have an intuition. Like when we're dealing with situations, you have that voice in your brain that like will step in, and people are like, well, yeah, that's just a thought in my head. Yeah, but where did that thought come from? That's one thing when I teach tarot classes, where people are like, where it's like, okay, what does that card mean to you? And they're like, well, I just made that up in my head. And it's like, yeah, but you had to make up something. Like you had to pull that from somewhere. That's what intuition is about listening to that voice inside that says, oh, this is scary, this is not scary, this is all that. So I believe that everybody has that, and it can manifest in different forms. Some people, I kind of believe that like people can be psychic mediums and connect to this like spirit essence, whatever. You know, that's never been me. My sort of intuition comes out through tarot. And the monster was ever part. Yeah, this was definitely not part of the dream. Like there's such a clear distinction for me of like what, and I think it was related to what was happening in the dream, because like I said, it was all these people that I didn't know, and I knew that song. Like that's the thing, is it like it's a song that I know I've never heard, but somehow I knew the song and I knew the words and I knew how to sing it with these people, and it was, I mean, it felt like a real song. It wasn't like I just sing to, sometimes I just narrate my life through song, like I'll be walking through the house. It wasn't like that. Like this didn't feel like I was just making up a song on the fly. It felt like a real song that I had never heard before, but somehow I knew it and could sing it perfectly along with these people. And I think that, and then all of a sudden just this sound, and I was like, and that sound was not part of the dream. Like it's so strange. Like I don't usually have those kinds of experiences. I've had some tarot readings that like when I've been with people, like it's been very strange and very like interesting, the stuff that comes out in the reading. And I think that's where my like intuition, that's what works with my intuition, is like working with tarot cards and things like that. But that was weird. That was weird because that sound was in my house, in my room, directly behind my head. Like, because I kind of roll from side to side. I'm a side sleeper, but like that's the only thing, is I sort of like half wake up at different times in the night and just like roll to the other side. roll back to the side, roll back to, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes I roll without ever waking up and all that, but I usually wake up once a night, sometimes twice a night. If I've been drinking a lot of water on a live stream, tonight we'll probably wake up twice. But yeah. So I don't have those kind of experience. I've had that kind of experience one time before. And I was telling my mom about this. I thought I had told her about this before, but it seemed to be new information, so I guess I hadn't. But so when I was a kid, I had this friend named Curtis. And Curtis and I were friends, and I think his dad might have been like a Lutheran pastor or something. I can't even remember, but I had this friend named Curtis. And then when I was in like maybe third grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, somewhere in there, Curtis moved away. And I was very sad. I missed my friend. And so those were dreams that I would remember because I had this recurring dream. And in the dream, I would be looking for my friend Curtis. I'd be like, Curtis, where is my friend Curtis? And I felt like he was in trouble, or like, I was like, I think he's in his house and they won't let him out or whatever. And so in the dream, I would walk to his house. And it was in our town where his house was located. Because basically from my house, I would walk to the end of the block, go to the left, and then go to the end of the block, go right. And it was the second house down. And that's where his house was. But the house in my dream, all the other houses were right. All the other houses were accurate to Bowbells, North Dakota. This house was not. This house was a completely different house. It didn't look like his house. It wasn't the same color as his house. And I would go to this house, and it was kind of like a stucco-y kind of thing. His house wasn't like that. And the windows, if you know how, like those old kind of brown papery like window shades that people had, like they're really old, people have them in old houses, and you pull them down, if there's a lamp behind it, it gets that yellowy, like the light, you can kind of, like it creates this yellow light, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like those old brown yellow paper window shades that people would pull down before everybody got like the blinds, like the window blinds or whatever. And so there were those in the windows, and I remember the like steps, I remember the whole thing. And like, so this house, for whatever reason, was different. All the other houses in the dream were the houses that existed in Bowbells, North Dakota. This house was not. And so I'm like, again, I said, I don't remember exactly when he moved. I would have been second, third, or fourth grade, somewhere in there. And I had this dream recurring every like 4 to 5 months for maybe 2-3 years. So I had it a few times, like half a dozen times or whatever. But that house, for whatever reason, was just because I would go to the house and I would see like that yellow light on those window shades, and I would see like shadows moving behind them, but I could never get into the house. I could never get the doors to open. All the windows were latched, like I couldn't get in, and then I would wake up. And so that was my dream that I had for a couple of years, is this going to my friend Curtis's house, and I can't get in, and I feel like he's in trouble. So clearly I have a history of anxiety dreams. Sleep is not a restful escape. But so anyway, so the point of this, because this is the other like weird woo-woo experience that I've had. So it's this house that does not belong here or whatever. It's there. It causes me anxiety or whatever. When I came to school, so I went to school in Grand Forks, North Dakota, where I still live. I came to UND, and my freshman year, I'm on campus, and I had moved in and everything, and I was going to drive somewhere, and I'm driving down. Well, aren't you fancy? Oh, yeah, Wayne. Hello, Wayne. We're just going to get rid of you, because you seem like a twat. You seem like a maggot, like a Republic cunt. So let's go. The typical like gay, like lisp or whatever. You can just go. But yeah, so I am driving down University Avenue, which is the street that goes through the campus, but it goes through campus, and then it goes to, there's like an area of it that's like where the frat houses are, and there's a big parking lot, and then there's this big park called University Park, and then it starts going towards downtown. So University goes a long way, but it starts, it's kind of mainly in like the campus, and then there's more out the other direction, but when I was there hadn't been as much development out that way, so it was kind of like you turned on there. And And so I'm going down University, and I get to like where University Park, and I don't remember exactly where it is on that stretch or whatever. And now I think they've like painted it or done some remodeling or whatever, but that fucking house was on University Avenue in Grand Forks, North Dakota. That house. And the minute I saw it, I swear I just about drove off the road, because there were lights on in the two windows with those janky old brown window shades. The house was the exact color that I remembered. The steps up the front were the same. Everything was exactly the same. And I hadn't had that dream in years. I hadn't had that dream since 4th, 5th, 6th grade. I mean, whenever, again, I can't remember exactly when he moved, and it was like 2 years after that or whatever, but like since I was a kid. But the minute I saw it, I was like, that's the fucking house. That's the house. Now, I don't even remember where Curtis moved to, but I do know that Curtis lived in Grand Forks at some point. I don't know if he lived in that house. I don't know any of that. But when I was working at Hot Topic, there was this guy who came in and he looked kind of familiar, and he bought some stuff and he wrote a check. And then as I was like putting it away, the name on the check, and I didn't say anything because I was like, I don't want to be that person that was like, do you remember like when we were friends as like second graders? It felt weird. I just wasn't, but and I was so shocked by it that I was like, oh, that's Curtis. And I was like, that's why he looks familiar, because he looked exactly the same, but like stretched out taller, like, and more adult. Like, it was weird. It was weird, but, so I know he has lived in Grand Forks. I don't know if he still does. I don't know if they moved to Grand Forks after they moved out of that. I don't know. I don't know if they ever lived in that house. I don't know if he has any connection to that house. But that house that was in that dream is on University Avenue. And now they've like painted it. It's harder for me to pick it out. I think the last time I went by, I tried to look for it again, and I think I can still sort of pick it out because a lot of the structure is still the same. But because I think it had like a stucco, and I think they might have put siding on. So now I think it's harder to see because that stucco was so particular, and there weren't other houses like it around. And do I wish I had spoken? I kind of do. And there are times where I've thought about, because now Facebook, you can stalk anybody on Facebook. So I've thought about like trying to look them up, and just be like, by the way, did you ever live on University Avenue in Grand Forks? Anything? I did end up meeting one of his cousins, I think. There was this guy that I met, and then when he said his last name, it was the same, and it's kind of an odd last name. Not odd, but just like something that you don't encounter a lot. Like it wasn't Smith or Jones or something. I was like, oh, are you related to Curtis? And he was like, yeah, that's my cousin or whatever it was. And so I do, if I really wanted to, I could track that guy down again, because I still see him online from time to time, so I could like track him down. But yeah, just that house exists. Like that's something I've always wondered about in dreams, because, and this is something I forget, this is not my idea, this is something that I encountered somewhere else, but it's something that I think about in terms of like where dreams come from and what dreams are all about. Because there are people that show up in my dreams that I don't know who they are. They're not people from my regular life. Like, there will just be random people in dreams. And I'm like, is that somebody that like maybe was at a place there where I was, and my subconscious like took them in and decided to put them in this dream? But like, do you ever think about that? Like, what if you're in other people's dreams? Like, what if, and I don't know how it happens, I don't know what causes it to be that, but like, what if we're just like walking around in other people's dreams? Because there are definitely people in my, like in this dream that I had before I had the weird sigh and that whole thing, I knew none of those people. So like, I suppose it could just be our brains, like maybe taking somebody from a TV show or a commercial or something that we don't recognize, but our brain for whatever reason held out and put that, but those are like, are those real people? I've always wondered about that, like where that comes from. And that's again, like the connection to this, like whatever this is. What if that's something that these are like things that we can pull from this like sort of universal thing that we're connected with? I've always wondered about that. But that house is here in Grand Forks, and I understand like those two experiences, they make me feel a little crazy. They make me feel a little crazy. Yeah, or someone while I was out and about in 1988. Yeah, like maybe my brain just like held on to that. And maybe it's something that like maybe that's part of like our memories finally trying to decide like can I get rid of that person? So they throw them in a dream and see if there's a reaction, and then they're like, get it out. Like who knows? It's so strange to me. It's so strange. But yeah, that house exists in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and I realize, because again, like when I tell these stories, these like now 2 stories that I have, I realize that I'm like, it sounds crazy. Like I get it. Like I feel crazy saying it, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I know that that's the house from my dream. Like I know without a doubt, this is not something where I'm like, oh, it's similar or it's a similar style or whatever. There's so many like little details of it that, and now like that they've changed it and it's like harder for me to pick out. I think it's like whatever it was, I just needed to acknowledge it, and now it like has less of a hold, because when I go by I don't immediately go like the house, but it was something where like I had to see it and like acknowledge it, and it was there and it was a thing. And so maybe I'll never have this experience with this, whatever this was that happened with this song and whatever. But maybe it just needed to happen and I needed to acknowledge it, and then now it can go, because then last night it was weird going to bed because I was like, is it gonna happen again? is it are we gonna have another little sing-along, like what? So I didn't know. I was like, okay. So last night I did, as I was going to bed, I was just like, I just said out loud in the room, I was like, if there's anything here, if there's anyone here, I appreciate you visiting. If there is a message that you would like me to get, I'm going to need you to be a little bit more explicit. I was like, if there was something, I was like, that dream, I appreciate that it turned very joyful. It seemed good. If that's all we needed, good. I'm glad we had that moment. But if you're still hanging around, if there's something you need me to know, I just need you to give it to me in terms that I can understand. And then I went to bed, and then I had no weird experiences or anything, but I have some bizarre facial recognition. I've had a few really uncomfortable interesting. I'm terrible. Like, I'm okay with like recognizing people. I'm terrible with names. I do a pretty good job at like recognizing people if I've talked to them before or whatever, but I don't have like any kind of like special thing, because my problem is that I'll see somebody. For me, it's all about the context. Because I'll see somebody, and like if I've seen somebody at a drag show over and over and over and over and over again, I might not know their name, but I'll know their face. And so if I see them some other weird place, I'll see them like at a shoe store, or I'll see them, at the food court in the mall or whatever. And then I see them and my brain just has such a hard time because that's not the context I'm used to seeing them in. And so I'll know that I know them. And of course, because I'm terrible with names, I can never remember what their name is. And so usually they have to tell me like, okay, like, oh yeah, I've been to your drag shows. And I'll be like, oh, and then once, and I hope that they don't think it's fake, that I'm just being like, oh yeah, totally. Usually once people give me the context, then I'm like, I do know you. Because I knew that I knew them before. Like, I'll be like, you look really familiar, and I'm trying to place it. And then once they give me the context. But yeah, so I'm not great. But usually I'm better at recognizing people than remembering a name. So usually if somebody's like, oh, do you know this person? I'm like, do you have a picture? Because I'm not trying to toot a horn or anything, but like I have met many people. I've been performing at drag shows in many places for 25 years. So like I meet a lot of people. And so I can't possibly remember. And some of them I meet once and then never see them again. Sometimes I see them over and over again. But like my brain can't keep it together. I used to teach composition. I would get 44 new students every semester. And I would have to remember all their names and faces. And it's like, oh, I handled it well, thanks. It's only a few people and it will be burned into my memory for all time. I'm so terrible at faces now, yeah. Names... I have such a hard time, ever since I finished teaching composition. I think that was the thing, is because I was like, I'm going to remember everybody's name by the end of the first week. And I would really push myself to make sure that because Because like, and especially that first week, if you're teaching a Tuesday, Thursday, that's 2 days. If it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's 3 days. Usually it's 2 days because I don't know why they would always do this, but like when a new semester would start, it would start like on a Tuesday. So that first week you would have like 2 days anyway. And then if somebody wasn't there the first week, because there were always people that did that kind of shit, then like I wouldn't, but it was like, I was usually pretty good with most of them by the end of the first week, and I usually had all of them by the end of the second week. The only one that I really had trouble with is I had a set of twins, Anna and Leva. And usually, like when I've met twins, like twins look alike, but if you're paying attention, there's usually something that you can find, one little detail that's going to give it to you. With those two, I could only tell them apart if they were together, because they told me, they're like, the way that people tell us apart is we're Anna and Leva with an L has lighter hair. And so if I was looking at them together, because it's subtle, like it's not like one's blonde and one's brunette, like one has dyed her hair blonde or whatever. It was two brunettes. But yeah, if they were next to each other, I could be like, oh yeah, Leva's hair is a few shades lighter. But if they were not together, because I would run into one of them, one or the other, at like the student union or just in the Merrifield hallway or whatever. That was where my classes were, the English building. And if they were by themselves, I would look and I would try to guess, and I would always get it wrong. But if I saw them together, I'd be like, Anna and Leva, and they'd be like, you got it. So once they told me that, it was good. Those were the only ones that I really, really struggled with, were those twins. And they were nice about it. They were, as a lot of twins are, they were used to people messing it up, and they were very kind about it. So, but once they gave me that key, as long as they were together, I could tell them apart. But I still, if I ran into one or the other, I always messed it up every time. So, yeah. So that's my weird spiritual situations that I have experienced. So, yeah, I almost called Dion. Like, I almost was gonna, like, because like I said, it was not quite 4 a.m. and she's nocturnal, so I was gonna be like, can I call you? But I was also just like, I don't want to talk about it out loud right now. I was like, I'm just gonna go back to bed. You should have just guessed Leva all the time, so you'd be right half the time. Yeah, I was trying so hard, because then I was trying to remember. I was like, okay, when they're together, how light was it? I was like, is that light enough to be Leva, or is it? And I was never right. I was never right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's going on. This was a fun little hangout. I hope everybody enjoyed. I'm going to go home and watch my stories. I got to watch my Days of Our Lives. And this week, I fell out of watching Beyond the Gates. For a while, I don't know what I was thinking. With my schedule and with the kinds of things I'm trying to do, and with trying to do live streams and all this kind of stuff, I used to try to keep up with 3 daily shows. I would try to keep up with Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, and Beyond the Gates. And I fell off with, and so Days of Our Lives is my, like, that's the show I've been with the longest. Like, I'm off and on, but like, I used to watch that as a kid with my mom. I watched it in high school. And so that one I have much more history with. And so that's my, like, if I'm going to lose all but one, it's going to be Days of Our Lives. Like, that's the one I'm going to keep. And then Young and the Restless I'd been with for a few years, and I did kind of like it. And I like that some of the people that used to be on Days that I like are now on Young and the Restless. And then Beyond the Gates is a newer one. And so I liked that I had watched that from like the very first episode. Excuse me. But like, I started falling behind, and then like if things got crazy and I could only watch 2 of my shows, I would always watch Days and then Young and the Restless. Like, that was the order I would watch them in. And so Beyond the Gates fell more and more and more behind. And in January, I realized that the last time I had watched Beyond the Gates, they were talking about a Halloween dance. And so I was like, I'm never going to get caught up on that. So I did decide, I was like, I'm just going to stop watching Beyond the Gates. And then not long after that, I was like, I need to stop watching Young and the Restless, because I wasn't getting to watch anything new, because I was spending so much time trying to keep caught up on these 3 daily shows and always being behind, that then like if something new came out, I'd be like, well, maybe I'll get to that, but I got to watch my shows or whatever. And so, but all of that to say is that this week I'm watching Beyond the Gates again, and I'm just gonna, when I got back into Days and when I first got into Young and the Restless, what I had to do is I just had to like keep my phone with me, and sometimes I would pause it and like Google people because they would refer to people or whatever. And so now, and that's with Young and the Restless. I didn't have any context for it, so then I just started watching it because they introduced this new character, and the storyline they did with her. Her name was Claire. She was kind of like a baby that everybody thought had died 20 years ago, and then they decided to create this new character and say that she had actually been stolen from the hospital, and it was a baby switch and this whole thing. And it was, the way they were doing it was really interesting, so I started watching. But then I would just have to Google, because they'd be like, well, what about Chloe? And I'd be like, who the fuck is Chloe? And so I'd be like, Young and the Restless, Chloe. And then it'd be like, Adam Newman, but he's not really part of the family. I was like, why isn't Adam Newman part of the Newman family? And then I was like, oh, because Nikki's not his mother. He had a different mother, but he's Victor's son and all. So I'm like, so I have to Google. And so now I'm watching Beyond the Gates this week because they're doing a Beyond the Gates Young and the Restless crossover. And it looks, and I always love when they do the big dramatic events. Whenever it gets too much into the romancy stuff, I'm kind of like, sometimes if it's well done, it's okay. But a lot of times when they start like kissing or whatever, I'll just be like, whores, and then wait for the next scene. But like, there's going to be a tornado and, you know, people might die. So I'm like, oh, I got to watch Beyond the Gates while they have this crossover with these interesting characters. And so I'm going to go watch Beyond the Gates and Days of Our Lives. But that was a long explanation that probably no one cares about. I'm already behind on Love After Lockup, and it's the only show I watch, and it's weekly. Sometimes if you're busy, you're busy. What can you do? But yeah, so the trying to keep up with 3 daily shows, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. It was not fun. It was not. Now I'm watching Hacks. I'm almost done with Hacks. I'm not ready for Hacks to be over. I love it so much. I love it so much. I am obsessed with it. I think I'll rewatch it fairly often. It's not a comfort show. Like it's a very cringy, awkward, like kind of like white knuckle kind of humor, but it's so funny and it's so smart. And they have these heartfelt moments that I just love. And so I love Hacks, and I'm not ready for it to be over, but I've only got like 5-6 episodes left, and it's going to make me sad. I feel so overwhelmed with media. Yeah, like trying to keep up with stuff is too much. Thank you for the stream, the pink. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow night for Pride Chat. Tomorrow night is Queer History of Horror. We're going to have some fun stuff with the Pride Chat tomorrow, because I have gotten some feedback that I do like to be engaged in the chat and everything, but with something like that where I'm trying to present information, somebody brought up the fact that sometimes, you know, we love everybody who stops in. We love the whole Champagne Dreamers family. But sometimes people are just not interested in talking about what the live is about, which with a random event is okay. Like with a random chat like this, if we go off in different tangents or whatever, it's fine. But because I'm easily distracted. Squirrel. That's me. So I'm still going to try to say hello to people. And if people ask questions, I'm going to try to, if I don't answer them right at the moment, I'll make sure I come back to them. But some of the chat, if the chat just kind of goes off in a different direction, I'm probably, because I still love and appreciate everybody. But sometimes people are just like on their own wavelength and just kind of like going in all different directions. And so I'm going to, with the Pride Chats, until we get to like the end of like what I want to cover and stuff, I'm going to try to like not engage with that part of the chat as much as possible. So if you do come back and if I'm not responding to you, just know that I still love and appreciate you, but I just am trying to keep myself on track because I know how easily distracted I am, and I know that I have a hard time with it. Because I know that, like, with the first Pride Chat, not the first one, not the impromptu one, well, a little bit with that one too, but with the one about, like, trans and non-binary people and Stonewall and all of that kind of stuff, I know that there were things that I didn't talk as much as I wanted to, and there's some things that I kind of left out of that. It was not you, Jenna. So I love them. I love their energy. Gabby the Chicken. I don't know what it is about Gabby the Chicken. Gabby the Chicken is narrating their entire life in the chat and do not give a fuck about what we're talking about. And Gabby, if you end up watching this, I love and appreciate you, and I love that you spend time with us and you're processing all of that kind of stuff. I love it. I'm here for it. I see you. I appreciate you. But I just, sometimes it's just like so off in left field, gardening and breaking up cement, and now I'm drinking wine, and I'm just like, I am so easily distracted that I'm really trying to like make the, like, I'm making the like conscious decision of like, we're going to still say hi to people as they come in. We're still going to do all of that kind of stuff, but we're going to focus in. We're going to make sure that we cover the stuff that we want to cover, and then kind of open it up for chat and questions and all that kind of stuff. But I want people to, the struggle is so real. The struggle is so real. And I still want people to participate. That's why I love live streams, is because I love the chat. And I love when there are questions. I need to get better about, even if it's a question that's relevant, sometimes it makes sense to answer it there. And sometimes it makes sense to kind of push it off till a little bit later. But I don't want people to feel ignored, so I feel like the pressure to like jump right in. I used to run groups, so the struggle is real. Yeah, I got referred to a person as a vag. Yeah, I didn't know what that was. I was like, I don't, and so like it was sometimes stuff that I didn't even get, and like, but they're just like narrating the whole thing, and I'm just like, they're not even like interacting with other people. They're just like telling a story, which I love. I love that. I'm here for it. I just need to, as the person who is like controlling the live stream, to make sure I'm like, you came here for a purpose. Sometimes we're just here to chat and have fun and hang out, and I love that. Sometimes now with some of these things, I am trying to come and have more of a purpose. And so I'm taking lessons from my idol, Jen Love. I think the way that she handles her chats is very good. Now, she has a bigger audience, and she obviously can't respond to every single thing in the chat. And I know that that's some of the things that people love about smaller channels. So I'm trying to keep that in mind and trying to, but that's something to know for the Pride Chat tomorrow, is that I'm going to try to keep myself from getting squirrel all the time, right? I'm going to try it. So, because I love and appreciate everybody, and I want to, and at some point I am probably going to make like actual filmed videos, because that was something that Mama Champagne suggested. She's like, for some of these topics, you should maybe also make like filmed videos, because she's like, I wanted more of like the queer theory and all of that kind of stuff, and I felt like I kind of got a little lost sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I hear that. So that's what's going on. So don't forget, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central Time, we will be back here on my channel for the newest Pride Chat, which is going to be the queer history of horror films and like horror as a genre. Horror is gay. Horror is gay as fuck. So that's that's just something to know. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give out some highlights and things like that, and we'll have kind of a discussion, but just know that I may be a little bit different with the chat tomorrow. So let's go ahead and wrap this up before it starts spinning. We're getting to an hour and 42 minutes, so pretty soon it'll start spinning and buffering. We hate that, so let's go. Let's see if I can remember my outro. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, this whole month of live streams. I love having planned live streams. I'm here for it. But so thank you, everybody. If you were here in the chat, don't forget to circle back around once this becomes public, once it allows me to make it public. And hello, Severe Zero. Yes, thanks for popping in at the end. Definitely, it'll be a video soon, so come back and watch the replay. Replay crew, you rock. Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below as well. If you were here in chat, don't forget to circle back around and leave a comment to help me feed that algorithm, feed the beast. While you are down there, don't forget that you can give me that thumbs up to tell me that you appreciated this video, or if you are like, girl, why didn't you go with blue hair? Why aren't you trying to be one of those blue-haired liberals they're always talking about? I decided to go with pink, but you can give me that thumbs down to tell me that you don't appreciate it. So it's all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. While you are down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. I try really hard to make sure I have at least one video or live per week. And if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, haunting-tastic. Pinkerific. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, just pretend it's there, The World of Champagne, at janessajay.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate all of you, and I am super excited for tomorrow night's Pride Chat. I think it's going to be a fun one. I love horror. I feel like I've been slacking a little bit on the horror side of Glam Geek and Gore, so excited to be back and talk about some of my favorite horrors and queerness in horror and all that kind of good stuff. So hopefully we'll see most or all of you back here tomorrow night for that, 7 p.m. Central Time. And until I see you again, bye. The awkward shutting off of the stream. There it is. There we go. Bye.